Hi, I'm Sarah Zimmerman. I'm a librarian who works in the Special Collections and Preservation Division of Chicago Public Library. Here in Special Collections, we have archives that document the city's history and city neighborhoods, as well as Chicago theater. In this year's One Book, One Chicago selection, Exit West by Mohsen Hamid, characters find themselves traveling through doorways and landing as refugees in different parts of the world. They must learn to live and function in a new place very different from where they once called home. This fictional account of a migration story is not so different from what waves of European immigrants to Chicago may have experienced in the late 1800s and early 20th century. Ultimately, the teachings of social workers and residents in Chicago's settlement houses, specifically the Gads Hill Center and Hull House, opened doorways to children's imaginations and paved the way for the Second City Theater and Chicago's off-loop theater movement. After the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, industries including McCormick Harvesting and the Chicago Cottage Organ Company began to move out of the city center and rebuild their factories farther from the loop on Chicago's Lower West Side. As a result, what had been a sparsely populated area of cottages and chicken coops quickly grew into a crowded neighborhood full of boarding houses and saloons hastily built to accommodate the influx of European immigrants and factory workers. This crowded neighborhood, bordered by Ashland, Western, Blue Island Avenue, and the railroad to the north, became known as Gads Hill. Today, it's generally considered part of Pilsen. In 1898, the Gads Hill Center settlement was founded. Over the course of more than 120 years, the center, which still operates today, has worked toward a mission to create opportunities for children and their families to build a better life through education, access to resources, and community engagement, and also toward a vision that all individuals, regardless of where they start, will achieve their full potential. Early in its history, Gads Hill Center developed a plan to create social clubs and activities that called for continued cooperative group action and long-term responsibility. This model was based on the work of long-term resident Neva Boyd, a pioneer in the field of social work and group play who joined Gads Hill in 1914. By 1937, the center recorded that in just 6 months, from May through October, it had opened its doors to more than 26,000 individuals of all ages. They participated in 123 groups, clubs, and classes meeting weekly under trained leadership. There was a nursery school and kindergarten, music, dance, sewing, and cooking classes, sports and social clubs for youths and adults alike. The center was also home to a branch of the Chicago Public Library, with 40,000 books in 13 languages. Theater was a popular activity at Gads Hill Center. Two groups, the Harmony Girls and Dramalites, staged regular productions including The Prince and the Pauper, Rumpelstiltskin, and an original pageant out on the Old Black Road, celebrating the neighborhood's history and the first 40 years of the Gads Hill Center. The program included scenes featuring a Polish wedding party, a children's story hour, welcoming Mexican immigrants to the center and neighborhood, and the effects of the then ongoing Great Depression. Not too far from the Gads Hill Center, Jane Addams' Hull House settlement on the near west side also provided care and community to recently arrived European immigrants. It was at Hull House where Neva Boyd founded the Recreational Training School, or Hull House School, unknowingly opening the door to what would become the Second City Theater and ultimately Chicago's off-loop theater movement. Social worker Viola Spolin joined the residents at Hull House as a drama director for the WPA Recreation Project. Together, Boyd and Spolin worked with more than 300 children in Hull House's drama clubs, using games and improvisation to teach language skills, problem solving, self-confidence, and social skills. This method of teaching became the basis of the theater games that Viola Spolin developed and later published in her book, Improvisation for the Theater, the seminal work on improv training and techniques that Spolin's son, Paul Sills, spent many hours with his mother at Hull House playing the games with other children, became a key moment in Chicago theater history. Sills attended the University of Chicago, which did not have a drama program at the time. He began teaching other interested students the theater games his mother had taught him at Hull House. This became the training ground for Sills and his friends, who in the 1950s founded the Playwrights Theater Club, which would give way to the Compass Players and ultimately lead Sills to found Chicago's improv giant, the Second City, with Howard Alk and Bernie Sahlins in 1959. Spolin helped her son by running improvisation workshops for the Second City cast. After several successful years, Sills was ready to move on from the Second City. He returned to the concept of the games he learned from Neva Boyd and his mother, and created the Game Theater and Story Theater. Both found homes at Reverend James Shiflett's Community Arts Center, the Body Politic. Arguably, this was the doorway that opened and launched the contemporary off-loop theater boom in Chicago, where doors continue to open. Games, arts, and community, they come together and circle around one another. A door may open years before and lead to only where the imagination can take it. To learn more about Gads Hill, Hull House, and the Chicago theater movement, visit us in Special Collections. We're open only by appointment right now, but we're here to open a door to history with you.